Hello, I'm Executive Chef Joseph Schutza and welcome to our kitchen. Today I'd like to share with you my recipe and technique for making one of my favorite dishes. Of course, it's a Hungarian dish. Csirke Paprikás és Nokedli. It's a Paprikash chicken with dumplings. As a child, my grandmother used to make this for me all the time, so it is a lot of fond memories of this dish. It is one of my favorite comfort dishes, and it's very flavorful and easy to make. So join me now as I show you how it's made. Before we dive in, there's a couple things I want to explain about chicken paprikash, or paprikash as a dish. There's a very similar dish called perkelt. And what is the difference between paprikash and perkelt? Many people have asked me. Honestly, there is no real significant difference. They both are prepared the same way. The meats are braised. Typically start with sweating an onion and then braising the meats and adding paprika. However, I come to find that a perkelt is a little thicker of a stew, but there are no vegetables outside the onion. And when you're talking about a paprikash, typically sour cream is added to the paprikash to finish it off, to help give it a little finesse. Where the perkelt does not normally have the sour cream in it. However, you can add a dollop of sour cream to the end of it, whatever. It's your choice, you eat it the way you like. No one should be able to tell you any different. Also, perkelts, I've always seen perkelts with heartier, more dense meats, such as venison, wild boar, beef. And where you talk about a paprikash, you will have more delicate, lighter foods, chicken, duck, even rabbit. So that's about the only differences I have with it. Could there be more? Maybe, but at the end of the day, they're essentially the same dish, the same cooking process, the same seasonings, the same elements. So let's get on with the cooking. Well, to begin, I like to select a saucepan that is suitable for braising. Preferably one that's shallow and wide and also has a lid. I'll preheat it over medium heat. I will add some oil. Now, it may seem like I'm adding a lot of oil, but the oil helps the paprika develop a lot of vibrant color. So let us begin with sweating the onions. I tend to dice mine a little smaller because as it's cooking, they will break down a little bit, and that helps thicken or adjust the consistency a little on the liquid. Well, now our onions are turning translucent and becoming very aromatic. Now I like to add my paprika. Now there's a couple ways you could do. One, you can add ground paprika, like I am. Also, you have what's called Piros Arany, and which is it's a paprika paste, and it's just a little bit of a shortcut. I know I'm not a big fan of shortcuts in the kitchen, but look at that beautiful color. So this is something that is a good little ace in the hole, if you will. So let's give this a quick turn. Be careful, we don't want it to get dark. We don't want the paprika to burn, and we're not trying to develop any color on the onions. So now that we got this liquor, let's go ahead and add our chicken. So the chicken I have was Bell & Evans whole wogs, and feel free to use a chicken breast if you like. If you prefer the breast or you're a little short on time, feel free to use the breast as an alternative. The breast will be fine. It cooks a lot faster, but it's not going to develop the flavor as the chicken with the bones in it. So let's lay our chicken around. I always go skin side down. Place it out. And the rest of these little pieces, the wings and the carcasses, I'm actually going to put into pressure cooker and make some stock. And here we go. At this point, I like to season with a little kosher salt. Be careful not to over season it. I then like to add a little bit of water, maybe 8 ounces worth. I'm gonna shake here so it doesn't stick. And go ahead and put the lid on. And let's drop the temperature from medium to low. And we're gonna let it slowly braise for about 45 minutes or so. Well, now, while the Paprikash is cooking, let's go ahead and start making our batter for the Nokedli, or the dumplings. So we will take our flour, put it into a bowl, add some kosher salt, and then I will add water and go ahead and gently mix. Now the water, or I add little at a time. At the end result, I'm looking to make the batter or dough almost like a pancake batter, but even thicker than pancake batter. If you make it a little too watery, don't worry about it. You can always add more flour to it, and then maybe a pinch more salt too, so you don't ruin or distort the flavors in any way. And right there's where we're at. That's not bad. So you want it to be soft enough that we can push it through the little grater, and you don't want it so watery that it just pours through, because then you get no shape to it. So there we have our dough or batter. What I recommend doing is take a small teaspoon of it, drop it into seasoned boiling water, and cook 1 or 2 and taste it to adjust the seasonings. If you make this too salty, the best bet is to add more water and flour to increase the volume so it's not too salty. Making dumplings is pretty easy nowadays. When I first made it for my wife back in Atlanta when we were dating, I did it how my grandmother did, where she would have the batter in the bowl and use the butter knife and cut them out by hand and drop them into the boiling water. My wife laughed at me because she said how big they were rather than what her family's used to. So my first trip to Hungary, this is what we picked up. So it's a little trough, like a cheese grater. You pour the dough or batter into it, and you take your trowel, basically just scrape it, and pushes down through. It is so much faster, let me tell you. They do have ones that have like a cup on top and a rail slides on here. I personally don't like them because I don't feel that the scraper gets close enough to the metal here to push it down through. It leaves a lot of stuff there and just turns out to be messy, in my opinion. So what to do is, you want to work quick. What I will do is I will always put a little bit of oil on the thing, on the grater, and then I will spoon in the dough. The oil helps keep it from sticking. Remember, when the steam comes up, it's going to want to cook this. So even when you're cleaning these tools, you want to use cold water instead of hot water. So now we just run it back and forth and press through. It's best to work in small batches. And if there's one note or one very important key point that I want to say about when making Nokedli, dumplings, spatzel, whatever you want to call it, never lose the boil. If you lose the boil, the water, your dumplings will turn out mushy and disgusting. So as long as you have this roaring boil, and when you drop in the dumpling batter, the temperature will drop, but as long as you never lose the boil, your dumplings will be much better. So now that I got this all pushed through, we will let it boil. The dumplings are done when they start floating to the top. And here they are. Nice little dumplings. So I will take a little mesh strainer, shake off the excess water, and then I transfer it to a bowl. And I will pour a little bit of blended oil or olive oil on it to keep them from sticking. And there you have it. Nokedli. Well, now that our Preheat is, or Paprikash is near completion, I like to do is remove the chicken from the liquid, and then we are going to thicken the braising liquid by adding flour and sour cream whisked together. Well, here we are with our flour and sour cream. Let's go ahead and add this to the braising liquid. And let's go ahead and just gently whisk it together. Allow it to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. So now we're back at the simmer. What I like to do is I'll put my chicken back in there, just to let some of that sauce kind of coat the protein. And just allow it to simmer until you reach your desired consistency or thickness. Well, there you have Csirke Paprikás, or Paprikash chicken in English. One of my absolute favorite dishes, as I mentioned before. Summer, winter, I don't care. This is something that can be done very quickly. Start to finish, I did this in about an hour and a half. And that is including moving the camera and the video and things as such. So you can utilize things like pressure cookers. My mother-in-law and my wife's grandmother made it for me before on the spur of the moment in a pressure cooker and had it done in less than 30 minutes. So it's definitely something easy. And as I recommend using bone-in chicken simply because of the flavor. The trick with the flour and the sour cream and allowing that to help thicken it is really nice. But you got to make sure that you cook it a little longer after adding that, because the starch itself will the flavor of the starch will actually remain in the sauce. Very much like when you're making a roux, you have to cook it out. And because you're only adding, maybe 2 tablespoons or so, depending on how thick you actually want it, the cook time is not that long. And, wash it down with some good old egg ver, some bull's blood. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I hope that you learned a little something about Paprikash chicken and also the difference between that and a Preheat. If you've not done so, please subscribe. Love to have you on board with us and up to date with all of our latest videos. Thank you very much for joining. Jöhet vaját. Oh, egészségedre.